I stared at the black card in my hand like it was a live grenade. The plastic was cold, sleek, and probably worth more than the entire penthouse. Though with Tiffany's constant designer upgrades and Raven's art supplies, read, a taxidermied raven and 500 tubes of neon paint, that bar was pretty high. Behind me, the 5 women who'd turned my slacker paradise into a circus were losing their minds. That's $900 million. Tiffany shrieked, her diamond necklace catching the light as she lunged for the card. I snatched it back just in time. Ethan, don't you dare take it. She's trying to buy your love. My love. Ashley flexed her biceps, the veins popping like she was about to bench press the coffee table, which she'd done once, just to test security. Are you kidding? This woman threatened to ruin all our lives a month ago. We can't let her waltz in here with a blank check and call it making amends. Evelyn pushed her glasses up her nose, her laptop already open to a spreadsheet titled, Ethan Miller Life Project, Shareholder Analysis. Mathematically speaking, 900 million constitutes 47.3% of the total capital injected into this project. Tiffany's 200M, Luna's 50M in tech investments, Ravens. Well, her art is technically priceless, but financially worthless, so we'll assign a nominal 10M. By corporate governance standards, Ms. Sterling would have majority voting rights. This is a hostile takeover, Ethan. Raven cackled, twirling a lock of dyed black hair around her finger. She was wearing a dress made of old concert tickets and a tiara made of safety pins. Her chaos chic look, as she called it. Hostile takeover? Darling, this is performance art. A fallen ice queen begging for a seat at the messiest table in New York? It's glorious. I need to paint this moment. Ethan holding the black card like it's the Holy Grail, you all frothing at the mouth, the suitcase by the door like a ticking time bomb of designer loungewear. Luna's chibi avatar flashed on the TV screen, her big cartoon eyes blinking rapidly. Security update. Former level SSS threat, Victoria Sterling, has been reclassified as potential ally. Trustworthiness score, 32%, up 30% from her last visit. Recommendation. Proceed with probationary membership. Her cybersecurity connections could be valuable. Also, I hacked her suitcase's smart lock. Contents, 12 pairs of silk pajamas, 3 bottles of $500 tea, a corporate efficiency planner, 2024 edition, and a crumpled photo of you two at the fake engagement party. She's smiling at it. Kinda. I glanced at the suitcase. It was a matte black thing, probably cost more than my first car, and it was blocking my front door like a passive-aggressive reminder of Victoria's presence. My mind raced back to that day in her office. Her cold voice, the check with 8 zeros, the way her mouth twitched when she thought I'd beg. Then I thought of the way she'd stumbled out of my apartment a month ago, her eyes raw with something I'd never seen before. Heartbreak. And then there was the tea. I'd forgotten about that. How she'd keep a tin of jasmine tea in her office, hidden in the bottom drawer of her desk, because she said the smell calmed the corporate demons. I'd only tried it once, when we were stuck in a 3-hour press conference, and she'd slipped me a cup under the table. It had been sweet, floral, and nothing like the ice queen I'd thought she was. Fine, I said, cutting through the chaos. The room went silent. 5 pairs of eyes stared at me like I'd just announced I was moving to Mars and taking Tiffany's credit card with me. Probationary membership. 1 month. No corporate jargon. No threats. No trying to optimize my life. You follow the rules, our rules. And if you so much as mention the word contract, you're out. Tiffany gasped. Ethan, she's a snake in Prada. She's also the only one here who can fix a cybersecurity breach in 10 minutes, I pointed out. And let's be real, none of you are exactly normal. We've got a muscle-bound chef, a data-obsessed health nut, a performance artist who thinks taxidermy is high art, an heiress who once bought a giraffe because it matched her shoes, and a hacker who lives in my TV. Adding a former CEO to the mix can't make things worse. Famous last words. Victoria showed up the next morning at 7 a.m. sharp. I knew because my smart doorbell, controlled by Luna, blared an alarm that said probationary member arrived. Remain vigilant. I stumbled out of bed in my ratty Star Wars pajamas, still half asleep, and opened the door to find her standing there in a tailored pajamas set. Yes, tailored. This woman couldn't even sleep casually, holding a leather-bound notebook. Good morning, Ethan, she said, her voice as crisp as a freshly pressed shirt. I've prepared a daily schedule optimization plan for the household. 7 a.m. Wake up. 7:15 a.m. Morning jog, 3.2 miles. Optimal for cardiovascular health. 7:45 a.m. Breakfast, high protein, low carb. Evelyn helped me calculate the macros. 8:30 a.m. Household chores, divided by skill set. Ashley can handle heavy lifting, Tiffany can. Well, she can supervise. 10 a.m. I held up a hand. Victoria. Rule number 1, no schedules. I haven't woken up before 10 a.m. in a month, and I'm not starting now. Also, put the notebook down. It's scaring me. Her lips tightened, but she closed the notebook. Very well. Adaptability is a key corporate skill. I'll improvise. That was when Ashley appeared behind me, wearing a neon pink tracksuit and holding a protein shake. She sized Victoria up like she was a threat to national security. Improvise, huh? How about you improvise making breakfast? Tiffany tried to cook eggs yesterday and set the smoke alarm off. Twice. Victoria blinked. I've never cooked before. My personal chef handles all meals. Perfect, Ashley said, shoving the protein shake into my hand and grabbing Victoria by the arm. Today's your first lesson. How to not burn toast. Let's go, Ice Queen. I sipped my protein shake, which tasted like chalk mixed with vanilla, and watched as Ashley dragged Victoria into the kitchen. This was going to be a long month. An hour later, the kitchen was a disaster. Smoke was drifting from the toaster. Victoria had set it to high because she thought more heat equals faster results. There was egg on the ceiling. She tried to crack an egg with one hand, like she was in a cooking show, and Tiffany was yelling at her for wasting perfectly good truffle oil on toast. This is unacceptable, Victoria said, staring at the charred bread in her hand like it had personally offended her. In a corporate setting, this would be a performance failure requiring a formal review. Welcome to the real world, Tiffany snapped, snatching the toast and throwing in the trash. Where people don't get reviews for burning breakfast, they get yelled at. Now let's try again. And this time, don't use the truffle oil. It's $200 a bottle. Evelyn wandered into the kitchen, holding a device that looked like a cross between a thermometer and a laser pointer. She pointed it at the toaster. The heating element is operating at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees above optimal for toast. Victoria, your mistake was not calibrating the appliance to the desired outcome. Here's a spreadsheet of toaster settings for various bread types. Raven appeared out of nowhere, wearing a chef's hat made of aluminum foil. No, cooking is art, not data. Victoria, you need to feel the toast. Channel your inner chaos. Burn it, undercook it, cover it in glitter. Let your soul speak. Luna's chibi avatar popped up on the fridge screen. I found a YouTube tutorial on how to make toast for dummies. Do you want me to project it onto the wall? Victoria stood in the middle of the chaos, her tailored pajamas now splattered with egg, and sighed. It was a real sigh, not the fake, polite one she used in board meetings, but a deep, exhausted sigh that made her look human. I think I'm going to need a drink. I handed her a can of Coke from the fridge. Trust me, Coke fixes everything, even burnt toast and existential crises. She took the can, hesitated for a second, then popped the tab. The fizz hissed, and she took a small sip. Her eyes widened. This is surprisingly refreshing. I told you, I said. It's the nectar of slackers. For a moment, no one yelled. No one waved a spreadsheet or a laser pointer or a chef's hat. We just stood there, watching Victoria drink Coke out of a can like it was the most exotic thing in the world. And then Tiffany yelled, "Hey, that's Ethan's favorite. Get your own." And the chaos resumed. But something had shifted just a little. Maybe, just maybe, this probation thing wasn't going to be a complete disaster. Probationary membership came with a list of challenges, mostly designed by the women to test if Victoria could actually be normal. I tried to argue that making her wear a tutu and paint with her feet was excessive, but Ashley had said, if she can't handle a tutu, she can't handle our life. And Tiffany had added, yeah, and I want to see her in pink. She's always wearing black or beige. She looks like a funeral director. Challenge 1. Gym duty with Ashley. Ashley's idea of gym duty was making Victoria help with the morning workout class she taught in the penthouse's spare room, which she converted into a mini gym with weights, a treadmill, and a punching bag. The class consisted of 3 middle-aged women from the building who paid Ashley $50 an hour to yell at them, and Victoria's job was to spot them during squats. I showed up to watch, mostly because I wanted to see Victoria in workout clothes. Spoiler: she'd worn a matching leggings and sports bra set that probably cost more than my entire workout wardrobe, and she'd paired it with white sneakers that looked like they'd never been worn. "Okay, ladies," Ashley yelled, clapping her hands. "Today we're doing 10 sets of 15 squats. Victoria, you're spotting Mrs. Henderson. She's got a bad knee, so make sure she doesn't fall. And no standing there like a statue. Use your words. Encourage her." Victoria nodded, standing behind Mrs. Henderson like she was guarding a CEO at a press conference. "Mrs. Henderson, please lower your body until your thighs are parallel to the floor. Maintain proper posture, back straight, core engaged. Failure to do so could result in muscle strain or injury." Mrs. Henderson stopped mid-squat. "Honey, are you yelling at me or reading from a textbook?" Ashley facepalmed. "Victoria, encourage her, not scare her. Say something nice, like, 'We're doing great,' or 'almost there.'" Victoria cleared her throat. "You're doing great. Almost there. Statistically, you have a 78% chance of completing this set without injury." Mrs. Henderson laughed. "Well, ain't that reassuring? Honey, you need to loosen up. This ain't a board meeting. It's a workout." I leaned against the wall, trying not to laugh. Victoria looked like she was in physical pain. She'd never been anything less than perfect, perfect grades, perfect career, perfect posture. And now she was being told to loosen up by a 60-year-old woman in neon leg warmers. Then disaster struck. Mrs. Henderson lost her balance during the last squat, and Victoria lunged forward to catch her. Unfortunately, she was wearing those brand new white sneakers, which had zero traction on the gym floor. She slipped, grabbed onto Mrs. Henderson's shirt, and they both went crashing to the floor in a pile of leggings and leg warmers. "Ow!" Mrs. Henderson yelled, but she was laughing. "Well, that was exciting." Victoria scrambled to her feet, her face bright red. "I am so sorry. That was a tactical error in footwear selection. I should have worn cross trainers with better grip." Ashley helped Mrs. Henderson up, then turned to Victoria. "Relax, Vicky. Everyone falls. Even me." She flexed her arm. "I once dropped a 50-pound dumbbell on my foot. Walked it off." "Vicky," Victoria repeated, her eyebrows shooting up. "No one has called me Vicky since I was 10. "Good," Ashley said, grinning. "Now you're one of us. Come on, let's try again. And this time, take off the fancy sneakers. Borrow a pair of mine." I watched as Victoria slipped off her white sneakers and put on Ashley's beat-up neon pink ones. They were 2 sizes too big, and she looked ridiculous, but she didn't complain. She stood behind Mrs. Henderson again, and this time, when she spotted her, she said, "You're doing amazing, Mrs. Henderson. Keep going, you've got this." It was awkward, and it was definitely not the polished Victoria Sterling I'd known for 3 years, but it was something real. Challenge 2. Art therapy with Raven. Raven's idea of art therapy was forcing Victoria to wear a tutu and paint with her feet. I tried to intervene, but Raven had said, "Art is about breaking boundaries. Victoria's boundaries are made of marble and money. We need to shatter them," and Victoria had surprisingly agreed. "I'm committed to this probation," she'd said, staring at the neon pink tutu Raven had thrust at her. "If wearing a tutu and painting with my feet is what it takes, then I'll do it." So there we were. Victoria in a tutu that was 2 sizes too small. Raven had borrowed it from a child down the hall, standing in a kiddie pool filled with paint, her feet covered in blue and green. Raven was wearing a matching tutu. She'd bought hers at a costume shop, and a tiara made of paintbrushes. "Now," Raven said, holding up a canvas, "I want you to think about your inner chaos, all the things you've been suppressing, all the rules you've followed, all the times you wanted to scream but didn't. And then dance, paint, let it all out." Victoria stared at the canvas like it was a hostile takeover target. "I don't have inner chaos. I have a to-do list." Raven sighed. "Everyone has inner chaos, Vicky, even CEOs. Now dance. Or I'll paint your hair neon green." I sat on the couch, sipping a beer, and watched as Victoria hesitantly lifted one foot and dipped in the paint. She took a step onto the canvas, leaving a blue footprint. Then another. Then, to my surprise, she started to move, slowly at first, then faster. She spun around, her tutu flaring, and her feet left streaks of green and blue across the canvas. Raven cheered. Yes, that's it. Feel the chaos. Victoria laughed, a real, genuine laugh that echoed through the room. It was loud, and it was a little off-key, but it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. She spun again, losing her balance, and fell into the kiddie pool with a splash. Paint went everywhere, on her face, on her tutu, on the walls. "Oh my God," she said, sitting up in the pool, paint dripping from her hair. "I'm a mess." "You're a masterpiece," Raven said, grinning. She snapped a photo with her phone. "This is going in my chaos as art exhibit." Title: Fallen Ice Queen Discovers Fun. Victoria shook her head, but she was smiling. "I think I need another Coke." Challenge 3. Cybersecurity Crisis. The one where Victoria saves the day. It was 2 a.m., and I was in bed, playing 9 Realms Online with Luna. We'd just beaten a boss that had taken us 3 weeks to prepare for, and I was celebrating with a bag of Cheetos and a Coke. Then Luna's chibi avatar froze. The screen went black. A message popped up in bright red letters. Hacked by Shadowblade. Your account is mine. No, I yelled, sitting up. Shadowblade was the second-ranked player in the game. He'd been trash-talking Luna for months, saying she was a cheater and a coward for never showing her face. "Luna, can you fix it?" My phone buzzed. Luna was texting me directly, her messages coming in a frantic flurry. His code's too advanced. He's using a military-grade encryption backdoor. I can't break it fast enough. He's already transferring my rare items to his account. Panic surged through me. That account wasn't just a game to Luna. It was her safe space, the place where she felt confident enough to be moon-hard. The legendary player, instead of the shy, socially anxious girl hiding behind screen. I couldn't let some jerk ruin that for her. I threw on a hoodie and sprinted out of my bedroom. The penthouse was dark, but a faint light glowed from the kitchen. Victoria was still up, sitting at the table with a mug of tea, her jasmine stuff, I noticed, and her laptop open. She looked up when I burst in, her eyebrows furrowed. "Ethan, it's 2 a.m. Is something wrong?" "It's Luna. She's been hacked. By Shadowblade, the guy who's been harassing her. He's stealing her account, and she can't stop him." I panted, leaning against the doorframe. "I know you said you have cybersecurity connections. Can you help? Please." Victoria's expression shifted from confusion to sharp focus. She closed her tea mug with a decisive click and spun her laptop toward me. "Pull up Luna's screen on my monitor. I'll need her to send me the breach logs. Tell her to use the encrypted channel I set up yesterday. I added it to her security dashboard under emergency backup." I fumbled with my phone, relaying her instructions to Luna. Within seconds, Victoria's laptop lit up with streams of code. Green text scrolling so fast it made my eyes hurt. She typed with the kind of speed that would make a professional gamer jealous, her fingers flying over the keyboard like they had a mind of their own. "This is amateur hour," she muttered, her lips twitching into a half-smile. "Shadowblade? Please. He's using a repurposed ransomware script. I've seen interns at Sterling Corp write better code." I stared at her. The Victoria I'd known for 3 years had been all board meetings and spreadsheets. Never once had she mentioned anything about coding or cybersecurity. "Since when do you know how to do this?" She didn't look up, but her voice softened. "My brother was a hacker. Before he passed, he taught me everything he knew, said it was essential for surviving in a world run by data. I haven't used it much since he died, but old habits." Before I could respond, Luna's chibi avatar popped up on Victoria's screen, her cartoon eyes wide with urgency. "He's accessing my personal files. My real name, my address. He found my backup hard drive." Victoria's fingers froze for half a second, then resumed their frantic pace. "Luna, I need you to disconnect your hard drive immediately. I'm sending you a virus override. Once you run it, it'll erase any trace of your personal info from his system. Ethan, grab my phone off the counter. Call Marcus at Sterling Cybersecurity Division. Tell him at the level 3 breach, code Jasmine. He'll know what to do." I did as she said, my hands shaking as I dialed the number. Marcus picked up on the first ring, his voice groggy but alert. When I mentioned Jasmine, he snapped awake. "On it." We'll trace Shadowblade's IP, flag his devices, and freeze any accounts linked to his game profile. Tell Ms. Sterling we're 10-4. By the time I hung up, Victoria was typing again, a small smile on her face. Got him. I planted a tracker in his code. Marcus's team will have his location in 5 minutes. And I reversed the item transfers. All of Luna's stuff is back. Luna's avatar did a little happy dance on the screen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How did you do that so fast? I've been trying to crack his encryption for an hour. Victoria leaned back in her chair, stretching her fingers. Like I said, amateur code. And I used to help my brother hack into game servers when we were kids. We'd steal his friends' rare swords just to mess with them. She paused, then added quietly, "This is the first time I've done this since he's been gone. It feels good. Not like work. Like remembering." I sat down across from her, suddenly aware of how close we were. Close enough to smell the jasmine tea on her breath. Close enough to see the faint smile lines around her eyes that she usually hid with makeup. "I didn't know about your brother," I said softly. She nodded, staring at her laptop screen like it held memories. "He was 2 years older. Got into trouble with the wrong people. Hacked a government database when he was 19. Spent a year in jail, then got clean. Started a small tech company. Died in a car crash 3 years ago." Her voice cracked a little at the end. "I threw myself into Sterling Corp after that. Work was easier than feeling." For a minute, we just sat there, the only sound the hum of the fridge and the distant glow of Luna's avatar still dancing on the screen. It was the first time Victoria had ever talked to me about something real, something that wasn't a contract or a business deal or a performance for the press. It made my chest feel tight in a good way. Then the kitchen light flipped on, and Ashley stumbled in, wearing a nightgown covered in dinosaurs and holding a baseball bat. She slept with it for security. "What's with all the typing? I thought we were being robbed." Tiffany appeared next, her hair a messy bun, clutching a diamond necklace like it was a weapon. "Robbed? Where? I'll buy the robber off. Name your price." Raven followed, wearing a cape made of a bedsheet and a tiara. She must have slept in her artistic attire. "Is it a heist? Can I paint it?" The Midnight Hacker Rescue, a tale of code and chaos. Evelyn wandered in last, her glasses askew, holding a sleep tracker. My device registered elevated heart rates in both you and Victoria. I ran a correlation analysis. 98% chance of an emergency. "What's happening?" Victoria and I exchanged a look, then she laughed, the kind of laugh that made her eyes crinkle at the corners. "We just saved Luna from a game hacker. And I think I need another Coke." Ashley lowered her baseball bat, grinning. "Hell yeah. Way to go, Vicky. I knew you had it in you." Tiffany gasped. "You hacked someone? That's so cool. Can you hack my ex-boyfriend's social media? I want to post a photo of him in that terrible Hawaiian shirt he wears." Evelyn pushed her glasses up, nodding approvingly. "Your cybersecurity skills align with my Ethan Miller Life Project risk mitigation model. I'll update your trustworthiness score to 68%. Raven clapped her hands. "This is perfect. We need to turn this into a performance art piece. Victoria as the code queen, Luna as the virtual heroine, Ethan as the panicked psychic." Luna's avatar popped up again, this time holding a virtual trophy. I made us all in-game medals. The cybersecurity squad. I looked around the kitchen, at Ashley's grinning face, Tiffany's excited gasp, Evelyn's spreadsheet-wielding hands, Raven's cape fluttering, Victoria's soft smile, and Luna's little avatar beaming on the screen, and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging. This wasn't a harem, or a project, or a contract. This was my family. Messy, chaotic, absurd. But mine. Victoria handed me a can of Coke. She grabbed one from the fridge while we were talking. "To saving accounts and finding chaos," she said, holding up her can. I clinked mine against hers. "To chaos," I agreed, "and to never waking up before 10 a.m. again." She laughed, and this time, it was loud enough to make Tiffany jump. Deal. A week later, I was sitting on the balcony, enjoying a rare moment of peace. Ashley had let me skip morning workout. She said I'd earned a rest after helping with the cybersecurity crisis, even though I'd mostly just handed Victoria snacks. Tiffany was out shopping for team uniforms. She wanted us all to wear matching Chanel tracksuits. Evelyn was running a household efficiency audit. She determined that we wasted 37% of our time arguing. Raven was in her art studio creating a sculpture of code. It was made of old computer parts and glitter, and Victoria was in the kitchen making toast, without burning it, which she'd been very proud of. Life was good. Chaotic but good. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Luna. Alert. Tabloid article about us. Headline: Billionaire slacker Ethan Miller's wild harem. Ex-CEO, muscle maven, and hacker bay battle for his heart. Photos included. Check the link. My stomach dropped. I clicked the link, and sure enough, there was a blurry photo of Victoria in the neon pink tutu from art therapy and Ashley lifting a couch, arguing in the living room. Another photo showed Raven painting my face with glitter, and a third had Tiffany shoving a diamond necklace at me. The article was full of garbage. Sources say Miller, who received a 9-figure severance from ex-fiancée Victoria Sterling, is now playing keep away with 5 women, all of whom are desperate for his money. Desperate for his money? I muttered, scrolling down. Tiffany's richer than I am. Ashley owns 3 gyms. Evelyn's a tech executive. Raven's art sells for 6 figures. Victoria's a former CEO. Do these reporters even do research? The balcony door slid open, and Victoria stepped out, holding 2 mugs of tea. She handed me one, her expression worried. Luna texted me. I saw the article. I took the mug, staring at the screen. This is bad. The last thing we need is tabloids digging into our lives. Luna's gonna panic. She hates attention. And Ashley's gonna track down the reporter and body slam them. I just know it. Victoria sat down next to me, her knee brushing mine. Calm down. We can fix this. Tabloids thrive on drama. If we give them a different narrative, they'll drop this story. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, and how do we do that? Host a press conference and tell them we're just friends. Better, she said, a small smile playing on her lips. We host a charity event, a friend supporting a good cause event. Invite the press. Show them we're not a harem. We're a group of people who care about each other and want to give back. It'll turn the story around, and we'll raise money for a good charity. Win-win. I stared at her. You're serious? A charity event? Have you met the women in this house? Tiffany will spend $100,000 on flowers. Ashley will challenge a reporter to an arm wrestling contest. Raven will perform a living sculpture that involves taxidermy. Evelyn will hand out spreadsheets about charitable giving efficiency. And Luna will hide in the server room. Victoria laughed. Then we'll embrace the chaos. Let them see us for who we are. Messy, but genuine. That's better than trying to be perfect. Trust me, I've spent my whole life being perfect, and it's overrated. Before I could respond, Ashley yelled from inside. Ethan, Vicky, get in here. I found a reporter who wrote that article. His name is Mike Carter, and he worked for the New York Trash Talk. I'm going to go pay him a visit. I jumped up. Ashley, no. Put down the baseball bat. Victoria stood up, grinning. See? Perfect timing. Let's go pitch the charity event idea. And Ethan, bring your Coke. We're going to need it. An hour later, we were all gathered in the living room. Victoria standing in front of us like she was giving a board meeting presentation, but this time she was wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, not a suit. She explained the charity event idea, and to my surprise, everyone was on board. Tiffany clapped her hands. Yes, I'll donate $1 million to the charity, and I'll rent a tent, and a caterer, and a band. And, Ashley, can you please stop Tiffany from buying the entire city? I said, as Tiffany started listing off essential event items, including a petting zoo. Ashley nodded, putting a hand on Tiffany's shoulder. Tiff, honey, let's stick to the basics. Food, drinks, a place to hold it. We don't need a petting zoo. Unless you want a petting zoo, I can carry a goat up here if you want. Evelyn pulled out her laptop. I've researched local charities. The best option is the New York Children's Hospital. They're underfunded, and a charity event would significantly boost their donations. I've calculated the optimal guest list size, 150 people. Food to drink ratio, 2-to-1. And speech duration, 5 minutes max. Any longer, and guests will lose interest. Raven's eyes lit up. I'll design the invitations. They'll be made of recycled paper and glitter. And I'll do a performance. The art of giving, it'll involve me painting a mural of children while wearing a dress made of donated clothes. Luna's avatar popped up on the TV. I'll handle security. I'll hack the building's guest list system to make sure no tabloid reporters get in without an invitation. And I'll set up a live stream of the event so people who can't attend can donate online. Oh, and I'll make a virtual auction. People can bid on experiences with us, like a workout with Ashley, or a tea party with Victoria, or a game night with me. Victoria looked around the room, her smile soft. See, we got this. Now, Ethan, you're in charge of being the face of the event. Just smile, say nice things about the charity, and don't let Tiffany bring a goat. I groaned. Why do I get the easy job? Because you're the only one who can calm Tiffany down when she starts buying yachts, Victoria said, winking at me. The next week was a whirlwind of chaos. Tiffany spent $50,000 on flowers. She said they were artisanal. Ashley turned the living room into a gym for event security training. She made us all lift weights to build team spirit. Evelyn spent 3 days creating a charity event efficiency dashboard. It had 50 tabs. Raven covered the walls in glittery murals. She said they were vibrant with the spirit of giving. And Victoria spent hours on the phone with the hospital, arranging for a representative to speak at the event. Luna, meanwhile, had transformed the server room into a command center with multiple monitors showing the live stream setup, guest list, and auction bids. She even created a virtual charity mascot, a chibi version of all of us holding hands, which popped up on the live stream every time someone donated. The night of the event arrived, and I stood in the hallway, staring at my reflection in the mirror. I was wearing a suit. Tiffany had bought it for me, saying it was appropriate for a charity event, and I felt like a fish out of water. I'd never been the face of anything before. Usually, I was the one hiding in the background, eating snacks and playing games. You look good, Victoria said, appearing behind me. She was wearing a simple black dress, no makeup, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked more beautiful than she ever had in her tailored suits. I feel ridiculous, I said, adjusting my tie. What if I mess up? What if I forget what the charity is called? What if Tiffany brings a goat? She laughed, reaching up to fix my tie. Her fingers brushed my neck, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. You won't mess up, and if you do, we'll cover for you. As for Tiffany, Ashley's got a firm grip on the goat situation. Apparently, Tiffany did try to buy one, but Ashley talked her out of it. The doorbell rang. Guests were arriving. Victoria took my hand, her palm warm against mine. Ready. I took a deep breath. Ready. The next few hours were a blur of chaos and joy. Tiffany greeted guests at the door, handing out diamond-encrusted pins. She said they were charity swag. Ashley walked around flexing her muscles and encouraging people to donate. 100 gets you high -5. 1,000 gets you an arm wrestling match. Evelyn stood by the auction table, explaining the statistical impact of each bid. Raven performed her mural painting performance. She got paint on a few guests, but they laughed it off, and Luna's virtual mascot popped up on the screens every time. Someone donated, making the kids and a few adults cheer. Victoria gave a speech about the hospital, and to my surprise, she didn't use any corporate jargon. She talked about her brother, who'd spent time in a children's hospital when he was a kid, and how much it had meant to him to have people who cared. When she finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Even the tough guy from the tabloid, the one Luna had let in as a test, was dabbing at his eyes with a napkin. Then it was my turn to speak. I stood up in front of the crowd, my hands shaking, and talked about how this group of women, my chaotic family, had turned my boring slacker dream into something way better. I talked about Luna's courage, Ashley's loyalty, Tiffany's generosity, Evelyn's smarts, Raven's creativity, and Victoria's, well, her unexpected ability to hack code and make toast without burning it. The crowd laughed, and when I finished, they cheered so loud it made the windows rattle. Just when things were going perfectly, disaster struck. Tiffany, who'd been mingling with guests, let out a shriek. My necklace. It's gone. The diamond one my dad gave me. It was on the table by the door. Panic spread through the room. Evelyn pulled out her laptop, typing furiously. I installed security cameras. Let's check the footage. Luna's avatar popped up on the big screen. I've got it. The last person who touched the table was that guy in the gray suit. He's a reporter from the New York Trash Talk. He slipped the necklace into his pocket when no one was looking. The guy, Mike Carter, the one who'd written the tabloid article, turned pale. I didn't. This is a misunderstanding. Ashley stepped forward, cracking her knuckles. Misunderstanding? Let's check your pockets, buddy. And if you don't cooperate, I'll make you regret it. Trust me, I've bench pressed heavier guys than you. Mike froze, then slowly pulled the necklace out of his pocket. The crowd gasped. I'm sorry. I needed a story. The tabloid was going to fire me if I didn't get something juicy on you guys. Victoria stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. Give the necklace back to Tiffany. Then, you're going to write a retraction of your article. An honest one, talking about this charity event, about how we're not a harem, but a group of friends who care about each other. And you're going to donate half your next paycheck to the New York Children's Hospital. Deal. Mike nodded, his hands shaking. Deal. I'm so sorry. You guys aren't what the tabloid said. You're good people. After Mike left, the mood lightened again. Tiffany put her necklace back on, beaming. See? I told you we should have had a petting zoo. Goats would have scared off the thieves. Ashley laughed, slinging an arm around Tiffany's shoulders. Next time, Tiff. Next time. By the end of the night, we'd raised over $2 million for the hospital. The live stream had Jonah viral, with pleadinating from all over the country. Luna's virtual auction had been a heat. Someone had bid $50,000 for a game night with her, and another person had paid $30,000 for a workout with Ashley. As the last guest left, we collapsed onto the couch, exhausted but happy. Raven was covered in paint. Tiffany's hair was a mess. Evelyn's spreadsheet was open on the coffee table. Ashley was munching on leftover appetizers. Luna's avatar was dozing on the TV screen, and Victoria was leaning against my shoulder, her eyes closed. We did good, I said, smiling. Victoria opened her eyes, grinning. We did, even without the goat. Tiffany gasped. Don't remind me. I still think a goat would have made it better. We all laughed, and, for a minute, everything was perfect. No tabloids, no hackers, no corporate drama. Just us, our chaotic little family, enjoying the quiet after the storm. A few days after the charity event, I found myself wandering through the penthouse, looking for my favorite hoodie. I'd left it somewhere, and knowing this crew, it was probably either covered in glitter, being used as a paint rag, or being worn by Ashley as a post-workout towel. I checked Raven's art studio first. No luck, just a wall covered in new murals of our charity event. And then Evelyn's data room, a spare bedroom filled with monitors and spreadsheets. Nope, just Evelyn typing away at her laptop. Finally, I checked Victoria's room. She'd moved into the spare bedroom a week ago, after Tiffany had declared that sharing a penthouse with a CEO means she needs her own space. Translation, Tiffany had tried to rearrange Victoria's stuff and gotten yelled at, so she demanded Victoria get her own room. Victoria's room was surprisingly messy. Well, messy by her standards. Her bed was unmade. She usually made it so neatly you could bounce a quarter off it. Her laptop was open on the desk, and there was a leather-bound notebook, her corporate efficiency planner, lying on the floor, its pages scattered. I bent down to pick up the planner, and, as I did, a photo fell out. It was the same one Luna had mentioned earlier, the fake engagement party photo, where Victoria was smiling. But this time, I noticed something I hadn't before. She was looking at me, not the camera. Her smile was small, but it was real, like she was laughing at something I'd said. I flipped through the planner, curiosity getting the better of me. Most of the pages were filled with corporate jargon and to-do lists, but there were a few pages that were different, pages filled with notes about us. Ethan's coffee, 2 sugars, no cream. He forgets to drink it if it's too hot. Maybe make it 10 minutes early so it cools down. Ashley's gym schedule, 6 a.m. workouts are a no-go. She's cranky until she's had her protein shake. Bring her a shake on Mondays and Wednesdays. She'll be nicer. Tiffany's weakness, compliments on her hair. She spends 2 hours doing it every morning. Tell her it looks good, and she'll stop trying to buy you a new suit. Evelyn's love language, data validation. If she shows you a spreadsheet, say this is well organized, she'll be happy for hours. Raven's trigger, calling her art weird. Even if it is weird, the taxidermied Raven was a step too far. Say it's creative, she'll stop painting your face with glitter. Luna's comfort, virtual high fives. After a game, send her a high five emoji. She'll open up more. My heart felt warm as I read the notes. Victoria had been trying, really trying, to fit in, to remember the little things about us. She wasn't just here for the project or the money. She was here because she cared. Looking for something? I jumped, dropping the planner. Victoria was standing in the doorway, her arms crossed, but she was smiling. I swear I wasn't snooping, I said, scrambling to pick up the planner. I was looking for my hoodie, and I found this on the floor, and... Victoria laughed, walking over to me. It's okay. I've been meaning to show you those notes. I want to get to know you. All of you. Not just the contract Ethan or the slacker Ethan, the real you. She sat down on the bed, patting the spot next to her. I sat down, and she took the planner from me, flipping to the page with the coffee note. I used to think emotions were a weakness, something that got in the way of business. But being here with you guys, I've realized they're not. They're what make this real. She paused, looking at the photo in her hand. That engagement party. You were telling me a joke about Tiffany's giraffe, remember? She'd bought it that week and didn't know where to put it, and I laughed. I didn't even realize I was smiling until the photo was taken. That was the first time I'd laughed in years. Not the fake corporate laugh, but a real one. I took her hand, squeezing it. You don't have to be perfect here, Victoria. You can be messy. You can burn toast. You can laugh at bad jokes. That's what family is for. She looked up at me, her eyes shiny. Family. I nodded. Yeah, family. Even if you do still use corporate jargon sometimes. She laughed, wiping her eyes. Guilty, but I'm working on it. Evelyn says my emotional deficit is decreasing. Her words, not mine. I grinned. Evelyn says a lot of things. Like yesterday, she said my snack intake is suboptimal for my health. I told her to mind her own business. Victoria laughed, leaning her head against my shoulder. I like this. Just talking. No contracts, no spreadsheets, no chaos. I like it too, I said, smiling. But let's be real. We both know the chaos will be back soon. Tiffany's already talking about a charity event sequel with a petting zoo, and Raven wants to do a living sculpture of us. Victoria groaned, but she was smiling. Of course they do. But that's okay. I'll bring the Coke. You bring the hoodie. We'll survive. I leaned down and kissed her forehead. We'll do more than survive. We'll thrive. Even with the goat. She laughed, and for a minute, everything was quiet. No chaos. No drama. Just us, and the quiet realization that we'd found something neither of us had ever had before, a home. A week later, I woke up at 9 a.m. to the sound of Ashley yelling, "One more REP," and Tiffany screaming, "My diamond earring is in the toaster." I rolled over, groaned, and buried my face in the pillow. Don't get me wrong, I love my chaotic family, but sometimes I miss the quiet. The days when I could sleep until noon, play video games all day, and eat nothing but junk food. The days when my biggest worry was whether I had enough Coke in the fridge. So, I made a decision. I was taking a me day. No workouts, no spreadsheets, no glitter, no CEOs, no heiresses, no hackers, no artists. Just me, a movie, a bag of Cheetos, and my favorite hoodie, which I'd finally found. Ashley had been using it as a post-workout towel. I snuck out of the penthouse at 10 a.m., leaving a note on the fridge. Gone for me day. Don't call. Don't text. Don't send Ashley to track me down. I'll be back tonight. I walked to the movie theater downtown, bought a ticket for the latest action movie, the one with the explosions and the car chases, perfect for me day, and settled in my seat with a large popcorn and a Coke. The lights dimmed, and for the first time in weeks, I felt calm. But halfway through the movie, I found myself checking my phone. Had Luna texted me? Was Ashley panicking because I skipped her workout? Had Tiffany set the toaster on fire again? I shook my head, putting my phone away. This was my me day. No distractions. But try as I might, I couldn't focus on the movie. All I could think about was the penthouse. Raven painting a new mural, Evelyn analyzing data, Tiffany shopping for more diamonds, Ashley lifting weights, Victoria making toast, and probably burning it. After the movie, I went to a diner and ordered a burger and fries, junk food, just like I used to. But as I ate, I found myself missing Ashley's protein shakes. Okay, maybe not the protein shakes, but her company and Victoria's jasmine tea and even Evelyn's lectures about optimal nutrition. I wandered around the city for a few hours, stopping at a comic book store and a gaming shop, but nothing felt right. The comic books were boring without Luna to geeks out with. The video games were dull, without Raven trying to paint my controller neon pink, and the quiet was lonely. By 5 p.m., I'd had enough. I walked back to the penthouse, my head down, ready to admit that my me day had been a disaster. When I opened the door, I was greeted by chaos. Tiffany was crying because she'd lost her diamond necklace again. Ashley was yelling at a delivery guy who'd brought the wrong pizza. Evelyn was typing furiously on her laptop. Raven was covered in glitter and painting a mural of me on the living room wall, and Victoria was standing in the middle of it all, holding a can of Coke and a bag of Cheetos, my favorite. They all stopped when they saw me. "Ethan," Tiffany yelled, running over to hug me. "I missed you." I lost my necklace again, and Ashley yelled at the pizza guy, and Raven painted your face on the wall, and Ashley stepped forward, grinning. "We were worried about you. Luna, track your phone. She said it was for security, and we saw you at the movie theater. We made you your favorite pizza, pepperoni, extra cheese, and Victoria bought your favorite Cheetos." Evelyn pushed her glasses up, nodding. "Your absence caused a 47% increase in household chaos. My data shows that you're the chaos moderator. Without you, we fall apart." Raven pointed to the mural. "I painted you as a superhero. Ethan Miller, defender of chaos. It's got glitter, lots of glitter." Victoria walked over to me, handed me the Coke and Cheetos. "We missed you." Even Tiffany, who spent most of the day crying about her necklace. Tiffany gasped. "I did not." "Okay, maybe I did, but only because I love you." I looked around the room at my chaotic, messy, wonderful family and smiled. "I missed you too. Mommy Day was boring without you guys." Tiffany clapped her hands. "Then let's have a movie night. We'll watch your favorite action movie, eat pizza and Cheetos, and I'll find my necklace, eventually." Ashley grinned. "And I'll let you skip tomorrow's workout. But only tomorrow." Evelyn nodded. "I'll even pause my household efficiency audit for an hour. For you." Raven clapped her hands. "And I'll bring the glitter. We can paint our faces during the movie." Victoria squeezed my hand. "See? Chaos is better with us." I nodded, grinning. "Yeah, it is." We spent the night watching the movie, eating pizza and Cheetos, and laughing at Tiffany's attempts to find her necklace. She eventually found it in Ashley's gym bag. Ashley had borrowed it to weight down her water bottle. Raven painted our faces with glitter. Evelyn fell asleep halfway through the movie. Ashley ate 3 slices of pizza. Victoria leaned against my shoulder, and Luna's avatar popped up on the TV screen, watching with us. It was messy, it was chaotic, it was perfect. And in that moment, I realized something. My slacker dream had never been about being alone. It had been about being free, to be myself, to be messy, to be loved. And with this crew, I had that. A few weeks later, we were all sitting in the living room, enjoying a rare, quiet afternoon. Ashley was lifting weights. Tiffany was trying on new diamond earrings. Evelyn was analyzing data. Raven was painting a new mural. Luna was playing 9 Realms Online on the TV. And Victoria was leaning against my shoulder, reading a book. Life was good. Chaotic, but good. Then the doorbell rang. Luna's avatar froze, and a red alert popped up on the screen. Alert. Level 4 threat detected. Target, Richard Voss, former business rival of Victoria Sterling, known for hostile takeovers and unethical business practices. "He's here to see you, Victoria." Victoria sat up, her expression hardening. "Richard Voss. I should have known he'd show up eventually." I looked at her, confused. "Who is he?" "He's a former colleague of mine," Victoria said, her voice cold. "We used to work together at Sterling Corp. Until he tried to stage a hostile takeover and steal my father's company. I fired him, and he's hated me ever since. He's probably here to gloat about the tabloid article, or to try to get me to come back to Sterling Corp, so he can use me." Ashley stood up, cracking her knuckles. "Want me to handle him? I can make him regret ever stepping foot in this building." Victoria shook her head. "No, let's hear what he has to say, but stay close." I stood up, putting my arm around Victoria. "We'll all stay close. He's not going to hurt you. Not with us here." Victoria smiled, squeezing my hand. "Thank you." I opened the door, and there he was, Richard Voss, wearing a tailored suit, his hair gelled back, a smarmy smile on his face. "Ah, Ethan Miller, the famous slacker who stole Victoria's Sterling from me. And Victoria, you look different. No suit, no makeup. You're letting yourself go." Victoria stepped forward, her voice sharp. "What do you want, Richard?" Richard laughed, pushing past me into the penthouse. "I want to talk business. I heard you quit Sterling Corp. Big mistake. The company's falling apart without you. I'm willing to give you your job back, but only if you play by my rules." He spread his arms, looking around the penthouse like it was a dump. Look at this place. You're living with a bunch of misfits. A gym rat, a spoiled heiress, a data nerd, a glitter-obsessed artist, a hermit who lives in a screen, and a slacker. This isn't you, Victoria. You're a leader, a CEO, not some housewife. Victoria's hands tightened into fists, but her voice stayed steady. First of all, this bunch of misfits is my family. Second, I left Sterling Corp because I realized there's more to life than board meetings and takeovers. And third, spare me the sentimentality. Richard cut her off, pulling a folder out of his briefcase. I have proof that your father's old business partner, Arthur Hale, embezzled $50 million from Sterling Corp before he died. If this goes public, the company's stock will crash. Your father's legacy will be ruined. My stomach dropped. I could see Victoria's face pale. Her father had built Sterling Corp from the ground up, and she'd always been fiercely proud of it. But Richard continued, a smirk spreading across his face. I can make it go away. I can bury the evidence. All you have to do is come back to Sterling Corp, sign over 30% of your shares to me, and fire that useless board of directors. Then we'll run the company together, like we should have done years ago. It was a threat, plain and simple. Richard was blackmailing her, using her father's legacy as leverage. Before Victoria could respond, Ashley stepped forward, her jaw clenched. You're going to regret saying that. No one messes with Vicky's family, or her dad's legacy. Richard sneered. And what are you going to do? Bench press me? Please. I have lawyers. I have connections. You're just Don't finish that sentence, I said, stepping in front of Ashley. I could feel her trembling next to me. She was trying not to punch him, and that took serious self-control. You think you can blackmail her? You think you can come in here and threaten her family? You're wrong. Evelyn closed her laptop with a snap, standing up. I've been researching Arthur Hale's financial record for the past 6 months. Curiosity, mostly. He didn't embezzle $50 million. He invested it in a renewable energy project that your team shut down last year because it didn't turn a profit fast enough. The paperwork's in my data room, all legal, all above board. You fabricated the embezzlement story to blackmail Victoria. Richard's smile faded. You're lying. I have the receipts. Luna, Evelyn said, nodding at the TV. Luna's avatar sprang to life, her cartoon hands typing furiously. I hacked Richard's email and his company's servers. Found the fake receipts. He photoshopped them last week. Also found emails between him and his lawyer talking about how to take down Victoria Sterling and seize control of Sterling Corp. I've sent all the evidence to the SEC and the New York Times. They'll be in touch. Richard's face turned bright red. You can't do that. That's illegal. Hacking my servers, stealing my emails. Raven laughed, stepping forward with a paintbrush in her hand. Illegal? Dude, you tried to blackmail a woman using her dead dad's legacy. Pot, meat kettle. Also, she dipped the brush in neon green paint and flicked it at his suit. That's for calling us misfits. Tiffany gasped, then grinned. Oh, me too. She grabbed a handful of glitter from her purse and threw it at Richard. And that's for saying my earrings are too much. They're fashion. Richard stood there, covered in paint and glitter, his suit ruined, his face a mix of anger and panic. You'll pay for this. All of you. The doorbell rang again. This time, it was 2 police officers, followed by a reporter from the New York Times. Richard Voss, one of the officers, said, "We have a warrant for your arrest, suspicion of fraud, blackmail, and fabricating evidence. You have the right to remain silent." As the officers handcuffed Richard, he screamed at us, but it was muffled by the reporter shoving a microphone in his face. "Mr. Voss, is it true you fabricated embezzlement claims to take over Sterling Corp? What do you say to the evidence of your emails?" By the time they dragged him out, Richard looked like a wreck. Paint on his suit, glitter in his hair, his pride in tatters. We stood there in silence for a minute, then Tiffany started laughing. Did you see his face? He looked like a glittery clown. Ashley high-fived her. Hell yeah, that's what happens when you mess with our family. Evelyn nodded, opening her laptop again. The SEC just emailed me. They're opening an investigation into Richard's business practices. Sterling Corp's stock will stabilize now that the embezzlement story is debunked. Raven clapped her hands. I need to paint this. The fall of the glittery villain. It'll be my masterpiece. Luna's avatar did a little dance. I just got a message from the Nine Realms online team. They're banning Shadowblade permanently, and they want me to be a community moderator. They said my cybersecurity skills are legendary. Victoria stood in the middle of us, her eyes shiny, a smile on her face. Thank you, she said, her voice soft. Thank you for having my back. I never thought I'd have people who would fight for me like this. I walked over to her, pulling her into a hug. We're family, Vicky. That's what we do. She hugged me back tight. I love you guys, even when you throw glitter at people. Tiffany gasped. Vicky said, love? Oh my God, we need to celebrate. I'll order a cake. No, a mountain of cake. And champagne. And a petting zoo. We finally get the petting zoo. Ashley groaned, but she was smiling. Fine. But no goats in the living room. Last time, you tried to dress it in a diamond collar. We spent the rest of the day celebrating. Tiffany ordered a 3-tiered chocolate cake and a petting zoo. The goat did end up in a diamond collar, but Ashley let it slide. Ashley grilled burgers. Evelyn made a team victory spreadsheet. It had a glitter border per Raven's request. Raven painted a mural of us, standing over a glittery Richard Voss. Luna played Nine Realms online with her new moderator powers. And Victoria and I sat on the balcony, watching the chaos. I never thought my life would be like this, Victoria said, leaning against my shoulder. Messy, loud, full of glitter and goats, and people who care about me more than they care about money or power. I kissed her forehead. Neither did I, but I'm glad it is. Because I gestured to the penthouse, where Tiffany was chasing the goat around with a diamond necklace, and Ashley was laughing, and Raven was singing off-key, is better than any slacker dream I ever had. Victoria smiled, squeezing my hand. Me too. Here's to chaos. Here's to family. Here's to never having to wear a tailored suit again. I raised my Coke in. Cheers to that. A month later, Tiffany announced that we were going on a family vacation. She'd rented a beach house in the Hamptons. 10 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, a private pool, and a glamour tent for her makeup and jewelry. We deserve it, she said, waving a stack of plane tickets. After the Richard Voss disaster, we need to relax. No work, no hackers, no glitter, well, minimal glitter. Raven gasped. No glitter? But how will I express my artistic soul? Bring glitter, Tiffany said, rolling her eyes. Just don't put in the pool. Last time, the pool guy quit. We packed our bags. Tiffany's took up 3 suitcases. Ashley's was full of workout gear. Evelyn's had her laptop and 10 notebooks. Raven's was overflowing with paint and glitter. Luna's was a small backpack with her gaming laptop. Victoria's had her jasmine tea and a few books, and mine had my hoodie and a bag of Cheetos, and drove to the Hamptons. The beach house was huge, so big I got lost twice on the way to my bedroom. Tiffany had decorated it with her signature style. Lots of pink, lots of diamonds, and a life-size statue of a giraffe in the living room. She said it reminded her of home. The first day was perfect. We went to the beach. Ashley played volleyball with a group of locals. Tiffany sunbathed in a $10,000 swimsuit. Evelyn read a book about beach efficiency. Yes, that's a real thing. Raven painted a mural on the sand. It was of us with the giraffe statue. Luna played Nine Realms online on her laptop. She said the beach Wi-Fi was suboptimal but manageable. Victoria and I walked along the shore, holding hands. This is nice, Victoria said, kicking off her shoes and letting the waves wash over her feet. Quiet. No deadlines. No blackmailers. No goats. I laughed. No goats. Yet, Tiffany's probably already looking for a beach goat. She smiled, leaning her head against my shoulder. I get used to this. Waking up late, walking on the beach, eating too much ice cream. Eating too much ice cream is my specialty, I said, grinning. Want to go get some? There's a shop down the road. They have mint chocolate chip, your favorite. She nodded, and we walked to the ice cream shop, holding hands. It was small, with a striped awning and a chalkboard menu. The owner, an old lady named Mabel, smiled at us as we walked in. First time here. We're staying at the big beach house down the road, Victoria said, smiling. Tiffany Carter's house. Mabel laughed. Ah, Tiffany. She comes here every summer, buys the entire shop out of strawberry ice cream. You're her. Friends. Family, I said without thinking. Victoria looked at me, her eyes soft. Yeah, family. Mabel grinned. Well, family deserves free toppings. Wallaby. We got our ice cream. Mint chocolate chip for Victoria, cookies and cream for me, and sat on a bench outside, watching the sunset. It was quiet, peaceful, and for a minute, I forgot about all the chaos back in New York. Then Tiffany texted me, "Ethan, where are you? The pool guy quit. Raven put glitter in the pool, and Ashley is arm wrestling a local guy for a case of beer. Help!" I sighed, showing Victoria the text. "Speak of the devil." She laughed, finishing her ice cream. "Let's go save a day." Again. When we got back to the beach house, the pool was bright pink, thanks to Raven's glitter. Ashley was in the middle of an arm wrestling match with a guy twice her size. She was winning. Tiffany was yelling at the pool guy, who was packing his bags. Evelyn was taking notes on a clipboard. Pool glitter. 37% increase in chaos. 0% increase in relaxation. And Luna was hiding in her bedroom, playing 9 Realms online to avoid the drama. "Okay, let's take this step by step," I said, clapping my hands. "First, Raven, stop putting glitter in the pool." Mabel from the ice cream shop said she has a friend who sells biodegradable glitter that won't ruin the pool. "We'll get some tomorrow." Second, Ashley, let the guy win. He's gonna cry if you beat him. Third, Tiffany, apologize to the pool guy. Offer him a raise. Fourth, Evelyn, put down a clipboard. We're on vacation, no spreadsheets. Fifth, Luna, come out of your room. Gonna have a bonfire on the beach tonight. They all nodded, and within an hour, the pool guy was back. Tiffany had offered him a $500 raise. Ashley had let the local guy win. He bought her a case of beer as a thank you. Raven had stopped putting glitter in the pool. She was saving it for the bonfire. Evelyn had put down her clipboard. She was reading a trashy novel instead. And Luna had come out of her room. She said the bonfire. Sounded like a good photo opportunity for her in-game avatar. That night, we had a bonfire on the beach. We roasted marshmallows, told stories, and laughed until our sides hurt. Tiffany told the story of how she'd bought a giraffe on a whim. She'd seen it at a zoo and fell in love. Ashley told the story of how she'd become a personal trainer. She'd gotten into a fight with a bully in high school and realized she loved helping people be strong. Evelyn told the story of how she'd built her first spreadsheet. She was 10, and she'd organized her candy collection by flavor and quantity. Raven told the story of how she'd started painting. She'd gotten in trouble for drawing on the walls, so her mom gave her a paint set. Luna told the story of how she'd become moon hard. She'd been too shy to make friends in real life, so she made them online. And Victoria told the story of how she'd first met her brother. She was 5, he was 7, and he'd stolen her favorite teddy bear, then gave it back after she'd cried for an hour. When it was my turn, I looked around at all of them, my chaotic, messy, wonderful family, and smiled. I used to think my perfect life was being alone, playing video games, eating junk food. But then I met you guys, and now I realize my perfect life is this. All of you. The glitter, the goats, the diamond necklaces in the toaster, the late-night Coke runs, the way we fight for each other. This is my happy ending. Victoria squeezed my hand, and I could see tears in her eyes. You're our happy ending too, Ethan. We sat there for a long time, watching the fire, listening to the waves, enjoying the quiet. For the first time in a long time, there was no chaos, no drama, no threats, just us and the people we loved. 3 months later, we were back in New York, and life had settled into a comfortable chaos. Tiffany had stopped trying to buy a petting zoo. She'd settled for a goldfish named Diamond. Ashley had opened a 4th gym. She'd named it Chaos Fitness. Evelyn had published a book about household efficiency for chaotic families. It was a bestseller. Raven had an art exhibit at the MoMA. Her piece, The Glittery Villain, was the star of the show. Luna had become a full-time moderator for 9 Realms Online. She even did a virtual meet and greet with her fans. And Victoria had started a non-profit organization. It helped kids learn coding and cybersecurity. She named it Jasmine's Code, after her brother. And me? I was happy. I still slept until 10 a.m. most days. I still ate too much junk food. And I still played video games with Luna. But now, I had people to share it with. People who loved me for who I was. Not for my money, not for my status, just for me. One night, we were all sitting in the living room, watching a movie. Tiffany was curled up on the couch with Diamond the goldfish. She'd bought him a tiny diamond collar. Ashley was eating popcorn. Evelyn was reading her book. Raven was painting my nails with glitter polish. Luna was playing 9 Realms Online on her laptop. And Victoria was leaning against my shoulder. I looked down at Victoria, and I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. With all of them. Hey guys, I said, pausing the movie. I have an announcement. They all looked up, curious. Tiffany gasped. Is it a petting zoo? Did you finally cave and buy a petting zoo? Ashley laughed. Tiff, let him speak. I took Victoria's hand, squeezing it. Victoria, I love you. I love your messy bed, your burnt toast, your jasmine tea, your corporate jargon, your courage, your kindness. I love everything about you. And I love this family, all of you. You've turned my boring slacker dream into something I never thought possible. Something real. Something perfect. I got down on one knee, pulling a small box out of my pocket. It wasn't a diamond ring. Victoria had never been into diamonds. It was a simple silver ring with a tiny jasmine flower engraved on it. Victoria Sterling, will you marry me? Victoria's eyes filled with tears. She nodded, her voice shaking. Yes, yes, I will. The room exploded into chaos. Tiffany screamed, throwing her arms around us. Ashley picked me up and spun me around. I almost dropped the ring. Evelyn closed her book, smiling. Raven threw glitter at us, of course she did, and Luna's avatar did a virtual backflip on the TV screen, yelling congratulations in big, sparkly letters. Diamond the goldfish even seemed to approve. He swam in a circle in his bowl, which Tiffany insisted was a celebratory dance. We need an engagement party, Tiffany yelled, jumping up from the couch. A big one, with a band, a caterer, AI sculpture of you two, and a petting zoo. This time, Ethan, you can't say no. It's a celebration. Ashley crossed her arms, grinning. A petting zoo's fine, but we need a chaos fitness booth. I'll teach everyone how to do a proper push-up, even the goats. Evelyn pulled out her phone, already typing. I'll create a guest list spreadsheet. We'll need to track dietary restrictions, RSVP status, and proximity to glitter-sensitive guests. I'm looking at you, Raven. Raven gasped, clutching her paintbrush to her chest. Glitter-sensitive guests? But glitter is the soul of a celebration. I'll make custom glitter invitations, each one hand-painted with your faces, and a glitter backdrop for photos, and glitter confetti cannons. Luna's avatar popped up next to Raven's paint supplies. I'll design a virtual component. Guests who can't make it can join via live stream, and I'll add a glitter filter so they feel like they're here. Also, I'll make a custom 9 Realms online quest for the party. The quest for Ethan and Victoria's happiness, complete with a diamond ring reward. Victoria laughed, wiping tears from her eyes as she slipped the jasmine ring on her finger. You guys are insane, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I pulled her into a kiss, ignoring the cheers and glitter around us. Me neither. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind of party planning, chaotic, over the top, and perfectly us. Tiffany took charge of the venue, renting a rooftop space with a view of the Manhattan skyline. She insisted on a pink and gold theme, which quickly morphed into pink, gold, and glitter thanks to Raven. She also ordered an ice sculpture of me and Victoria, except the sculptor had misheard Jasmine Ring as Jasmine King, so it ended up being a statue of me holding a crown made of flowers. Tiffany thought it was majestic. Ashley set up her Chaos Fitness booth in the corner, complete with a mini weight rack and a sign that read arm wrestle for a free hug and a CN of Coke. She also convinced a local brewery to donate cases of beer for the adults, she said, though I caught her sneaking a sip at 10 a.m. while setting up. Evelyn created a 20-tab spreadsheet to track every detail. Guest arrivals, food platters, glitter cannon timing. She negotiated with Raven to limit it to 3 blasts per hour max. And even a goat supervision schedule. Tiffany had insisted on 2 goats named Sparkle and Diamond. Raven covered the rooftop in glitter murals, portraits of our family, scenes from the charity event, even a doodle of Richard Voss covered in glitter. She called it a reminder of our victory. She also made custom glittery name tags for everyone, including the goats. Sparkle's tag had a tiny diamond, naturally. Luna turned the live stream into a full-on production, complete with a virtual host, her Moonheart avatar, and a chat room where guests could send messages. She also spent 3 nights coding the 9 Realms online quest. When you completed it, your avatar got a tiny jasmine ring accessory. Victoria and I, we mostly stayed out of the way, occasionally stepping in to stop Tiffany from buying a 3rd goat or Raven from covering the ice sculpture in glitter. She'd already covered the tablecloths, the chairs, and my hoodie. We spent our free time walking in Central Park, drinking jasmine tea, and talking about the future. Our future with this crazy family by our side. The night of the party arrived, and I stood backstage with Victoria, watching as our friends put the final touches on everything. Ashley was showing Sparkle the Goat how to do a high five. It wasn't going well. Tiffany was yelling at the caterers for not putting enough diamonds on the cake. Evelyn was checking her spreadsheet for the 50th time. Raven was testing a glitter cannon. It accidentally shot glitter at a waiter, and Luna was adjusting the live stream camera. "You ready?" I asked, squeezing Victoria's hand. She smiled, her jasmine ring catching the light. "More than ready." We walked out onto the rooftop, and the room erupted into cheers. Confetti and glitter fell from the ceiling. The band started playing a terrible cover of Can't Help Falling in Love, and Sparkle the Goat wandered over to me, nuzzling my hand like she knew I was the Jasmine King. Tiffany ran over, throwing her arms around us. "You look perfect. The ice sculpture is perfect. The goats are perfect. Everything is perfect." Ashley handed me a can of Coke. "To the happy couple, don't forget, if anyone gives you trouble, I'm here to bench press them." Evelyn smiled, closing her spreadsheet for the first time all night. "The guest list is complete, the glitter cannons are on schedule, and the goats have been fed. Enjoy yourselves." Raven threw a handful of glitter at us, grinning. "To love, to chaos, to never having a boring party again." Luna's Moon's Hard avatar appeared on the big screen, waving. "Congratulations, you too. The Nine Realms online community sends their love. Over 10,000 players have completed the quest." Victoria pulled me into a slow dance as the band played, ignoring the glitter in my hair and the sound of Ashley arm wrestling a guest in the corner. "I love you," she whispered, her head on my shoulder. "I love you too," I said, kissing her forehead. "And I love this, all of this. The goats, the glitter, the spreadsheet, the terrible cover band. It's perfect." She laughed, pulling me closer. "Perfectly chaotic." Later that night, as the party wound down, we sat on the rooftop with our friends, watching the stars. Tiffany was passed out on the couch, Sparkle the Goat curled up next to her. Ashley was drinking a beer, telling stories about her first gym. Evelyn was reading her book, her spreadsheet forgotten on the table. Raven was painting a tiny glitter mural on the back of my hand. Luna was showing us screenshots of the Nine Realms online quest. Over 15,000 players had completed it now. Victoria leaned against my shoulder, her hand in mine. "You know," she said, "I used to think happiness was about success, about running a company, making money, being perfect. But now, I realize it's about this. About people who love you even when you burn toast, or cry at a movie, or forget to make the coffee. About family." I kissed her knuckles, staring at the jasmine ring on her finger. "Family," I repeated. "The best kind." Raven held up her paintbrush, slurring a little. She'd had too much champagne. "To family. To love. To glitter forever." We all raised our glasses. Coke for me, champagne for Victoria, beer for Ashley, iced tea for Evelyn, soda for Luna, and cheered. The glitter cannons went off one last time, covering us in pink and gold sparkles. Somewhere in the distance, a goat bleated. It was messy. It was chaotic. It was perfect. And it was ours. 6 months later, we were getting married. We decided to keep the wedding small. Well, small by our standards. Just 50 guests, mostly friends and family, including Mabel from the ice cream shop, who'd insisted on bringing a tub of mint chocolate chip as a wedding gift. We'd also decided to skip the traditional wedding rules. No white dress, no first dance that lasted 10 minutes, no speeches from drunk uncles. Instead, we planned a day that was uniquely us. Victoria wore a knee-length white dress with a jasmine flower in her hair. No veil, no heels. She'd opted for white sneakers, for comfort. I wore a black suit with a glittery tie. Raven had made it for me. And my favorite hoodie in the pocket, just in case I get bored. I told her. The venue was the same rooftop where we'd had our engagement party. But this time, Raven had toned down the glitter a little. She'd painted murals of jasmine flowers instead of our faces, and she'd limited the glitter cannons to one blast during the vows max. Tiffany was the maid of honor, and she'd insisted on wearing a pink dress covered in tiny diamonds. She also brought Sparkle and Diamond the goats, who were dressed in mini tuxedos. She called them ring bearers, though they spent most of the time eating the flower arrangements. Ashley was my best man. She'd threatened to bench press me if I said best woman, and she wore a black suit with a neon pink shirt underneath. She also brought a cooler of beer and a stack of Chaos Fitness wristbands. Wedding favors, she said. Evelyn was the officiant. She'd spent weeks writing the ceremony, and she'd even added a data-driven vow section. Based on my analysis of your relationship, you two fight best when you share a Coke and apologize within 10 minutes, she told us. Luna set up a live stream again, but this time she invited the entire Nine Realms online community to watch. She also created a virtual wedding venue in the game, where players could dance, eat virtual cake, and even take photos with Sparkle and Diamond's digital avatars. Raven was in charge of the decorations, jasmine flowers everywhere, a glittery backdrop for photos, and a cake that looked like a stack of jasmine tea tins, with a tiny glittery goat on top. She also painted our wedding rings. Mine had a tiny glittery Coke can, Victoria's had a jasmine flower. The ceremony was short, sweet, and full of chaos. When Evelyn asked if anyone objected, Sparkle the goat bleated loudly. Tiffany insisted it was a sign of approval. When we exchanged vows, I accidentally called Victoria Vicky, her brother's old nickname, and she teared up. I haven't heard that in years, she whispered. When we kissed, Raven set off the glitter cannon, except she'd forgotten to aim it, and it shot glitter directly at Evelyn's spreadsheet. She didn't even mind. She just laughed and closed it. After the ceremony, we danced to a mix of our favorite songs. A terrible cover of Sweet Child O' Mine, Ashley's request, Code Monkey by Jonathan Colton, Luna's pick, and Jasmine Flower by Chinese folk singers, Victoria's tribute to her brother. Tiffany gave a speech about how Ethan and Victoria were meant to be, even if they met because of a contract and a lot of glitter. She also announced that she was donating $1 million to Jasmine's Code, Victoria's nonprofit. The room cheered, and Sparkle the goat bleated again. Ashley gave a speech about how family isn't blood. It's the people who will fight for you, drink beer with you, and help you hide a glitter cannon from the caterers. She also gave us a gift, a lifetime membership to Chaos Fitness. Don't worry, she said, I'll go easy on you for the first week. Evelyn gave a speech that was half data, half heart. Based on my calculations, Ethan and Victoria have a 99.9% chance of a happy marriage. The 0.1% is for when Tiffany tries to buy a fourth goat. Raven didn't give a speech. She just painted a quick mural of us on the wall, kissed us both on the cheek, and said, "This is my gift. It'll last longer than flowers." Luna's Moon's Heart avatar appeared on the screen, and she gave a speech from her bedroom. She'd gotten nervous about speaking in front of a crowd. I used to be scared of people, scared they'd judge me for being shy, for living in a screen. But then I met you guys. You made me feel like family. And now, Ethan and Victoria, you're making me believe in love too. Congratulations. By the end of the night, we were all tired, covered in glitter, and happy. The cake was gone. Sparkle the goat had eaten a corner of it. The beer was gone. Ashley had supervised most of it, and Evelyn's spreadsheet was covered in glitter. She decided to frame it. Victoria and I sat on the rooftop, watching the stars as our friends cleaned up. She was leaning against my shoulder, her head on my chest. I never thought I'd have this, she said, her voice soft. A wedding with goats, glitter, and people who love me for who I am. I kissed her hair, breathing in the smell of jasmine. Neither did I, but I'm glad we do. She looked up at me, her jasmine ring catching the light. What's next? I smiled, thinking about the future. Lazy Sundays with coffee and burnt toast, game nights with Luna, gym sessions with Ashley, art projects with Raven, spreadsheet debates with Evelyn, and Tiffany's inevitable attempts to buy more goats. Whatever we want, as long as we're together. She kissed me, slow and sweet, as the last of the glitter fell from the sky. Whatever we want, she repeated. Together. 5 years later, we're still living in the penthouse. Though it's gotten a little bigger, we added a second bedroom for Luna, who finally moved out of her parents' house, and a backyard for the goats. Life is still chaotic, still over the top, and still perfectly us. Tiffany never did stop trying to buy more goats. We now have 4. Sparkle, Diamond, Glitter, and Jasmine, named after Victoria's brother. She also opened a diamond boutique downtown where she sells jewelry and occasionally lets the goats wander around. The customers love it. Ashley expanded Chaos Fitness to 5 locations, and she's now a certified personal trainer for professional athletes. She still makes us work out every Sunday. Though she's learned to go easy on me, she only makes me do 10 push-ups instead of 20. Evelyn wrote a second book, Household Efficiency for Families with Goats, which was even more successful than the first. She also married Marcus, the cybersecurity guy from Sterling Corp. They had a small wedding, no goats, but plenty of spreadsheets. Raven has her own art studio in Brooklyn, where she teaches kids how to paint with glitter. She still covers our penthouse in murals. Last month, she painted a portrait of our entire family, including the goats, on the living room wall. Luna is now the head moderator of 9 Realms Online, and she's even written a book about her experiences, from Shy Girl to Moon's Hard, how gaming saved my life. She also started dating a fellow gamer, Jake, who fits right in. He once helped Raven set up a glitter cannon for our anniversary. Victoria's nonprofit, Jasmine's Code, now has chapters in 10 cities. She still teaches coding classes to kids every Saturday, and she's even started a Girls Who Code program. She also finally learned how to make toast without burning it, though she still prefers jasmine tea for breakfast. And me? I'm still a slacker, sort of. I work part-time at Luna's gaming studio, helping her test new quests. I still sleep until 10 a.m. on weekends, I still eat too much junk food, and I still play video games with Luna every night. But now, I have a wife who loves me, a family who supports me, and 4 goats who think my hoodie is a chew toy. Life isn't perfect. We still fight, usually about Tiffany's goats or Raven's glitter. We still have bad days, like the time Sparkle ate Victoria's jasmine tea tin. We still make mistakes, like the time I forgot our anniversary and had to take Victoria to the ice cream shop at 2 a.m. But that's okay, because we're in it together. Last week, we had a family dinner to celebrate Evelyn and Marcus's first anniversary. Tiffany brought the goats, dressed in tiny party hats. Ashley brought the beer. Evelyn brought the spreadsheet. She'd made a dinner schedule to avoid chaos. Raven brought the glitter. She'd made custom placemats. Luna brought Jake. And Victoria made jasmine tea for everyone. As we sat around the table, laughing and eating and arguing about whether the goats should be allowed on the couch, I looked around at my family, my chaotic, messy, wonderful family, and smiled. This was my happy ending. Not the quiet slacker life I dreamed of as a kid, but something better, something real, something full of love and glitter and goats and all the things that make life worth living. Victoria squeezed my hand under the table, and I looked at her, her smile, her jasmine ring, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed. I kissed her knuckles, and she leaned her head against my shoulder. "Love you," she whispered. "Love you too," I said. And somewhere in the background, Sparkle the goat bleated, "Perfect."